Hello everyone and welcome to Our Time and one of my very favourite segments. It's time for Book Club, and today we have three ladies joining us, all members of book clubs, teachers, mums, a librarian. So we're going to talk about book clubs, how important they are for society at the moment, how you can become involved in a book club, and we're going to talk about some very good books at the moment. Maria, welcome to the program.
Hi.
This is Maria Komnenos. You're a book club member and a mum and a school teacher.
Yes, I am.
And Karen.
Hi.
Karen Butler. Tell us about yourself, Karen.
I'm a primary school teacher.
Yes.
I don't have any children.
Yes.
But I'm an avid reader
Uh-huh.
and book club member with Maria.
And Tash Turner.
Yep, I'm the acting librarian at the moment at Prospect Library, and I also have two boys, 8 and 6, who I'm trying to encourage to read as much as I do.
As they possibly can.
Yeah, that's right.
So before we get into these books, and we've got some fabulous books to discuss today, if people are interested in reading and haven't thought about becoming a member of a book club, how do they go about it? Would the library be the first point of call?
The best thing to do would go to your public library,
Yes.
speak to anybody at the desk, and they'll be able to refer you to whatever book groups they have. All the libraries across South Australia will usually have a book group, but we run them in different ways. So the best thing to do is go to your local library, and they'll get you in touch with a book club that's running at the moment, and you can take it from there.
Okay, and how did you girls become involved?
I've had friends that are involved in book clubs and they don't go through the library. There's a group that, there's 4 girls, they go out to dinner once a month and someone
I like the sound of that.
And
so we go out to dinner.
Yeah,
Good.
so one of them buys a book for all 4 members and they go and they talk about the book, and then a person will bring another book along for the next month, and they go to different restaurants around town. Okay. And another book club does the same, and they all buy their own books. But there is also many that go through the library as well.
So it's a very social thing. That's the beauty of this. That, I mean, a group of young mums who perhaps share or have little children that belong to playgroups can relate on a different intellectual level, rather than just talking about children and nappies and whatever. They can actually go into another more grown-up area, if you like. You said it's book and wine club too sometimes.
Yeah, book/wine.
Book/wine club.
Wine appreciation.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah,
It just means...
our groups, we've got someone that's 24 and our oldest member's about 65.
Yeah.
So we've got a big variety of age group in that one.
And you get some lovely, a different perspective, an older person's perspective compared to a younger one. So who chooses the books? You...
For our book club, the North Adelaide Library selects them, and they choose books that have been award-winning, but then the last time they asked our group to select our favourites.
Okay.
So we just brainstormed a list of favourites and they chose from
You worked
those.
from there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at with the 2 books we have today. The first one is J.K. Rowling, The Causal Vacancy. Now, this is the J.K. Rowling, of Harry Potter fame, and this is her first venture into adult fiction, really, isn't it? I've heard it described as blackly comic, thought-provoking, and constantly surprising. Would you agree with those sentiments?
Yes, I do, actually. Yeah, it was quite funny. I was laughing in bits of it, but I actually loved the book, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
There were bits that were quite sad though, so it can be a black comedy. Things that you would laugh at on one page, and you turn the page and the next page you're reading something that's quite tragic.
Is that right?
So yeah, it was a great book, I thought. Yeah, a good first step into adult fiction.
Okay. Tell us about the storyline for those who may think, I'd like to venture out. How would you describe what sort of genre?
I initially thought that it might be a book about people who go and stay at a bed and breakfast and the characters that might involve, but it's actually causal vacancy is a term that they use for when somebody on council dies, and it's the vacancy that's left for them to refill, so then there'll be a council election to fill that causal vacancy.
In a small country town.
In an English country town, So that I learnt something from page 1, really.
And what is it? Would you describe it as a crime novel or a...
Not really a crime.
It's drama.
Drama, dysfunctional families, that kind
Just
of
a
thing.
study of a small country town?
It's really character based. You can picture that her imagery when she describes the characters is so well done that you have like a movie running through your head when you're reading the book. Like we were all talking about it earlier, picturing each of these characters, and there are certain scenes in the book that you can visualise the characters performing the actions.
Really?
It's so well done. It was like
one that you said that was this one of the main characters, he had an affair with a lady, and we just like imaged it, and we just like, because of the affair. It's like we couldn't picture it. Like,
Really?
who would go with him?
So you had such a vivid picture of him that you were all thinking, yuck.
Yuck.
But he has a lot of health problems. He's very, very overweight and goes to the doctor for a skin complaint. And she talks at one point, the doctor, about lifting this large roll of flesh to check the wound underneath. And so that was just so visual.
Yes.
And that's just a perfect example of all of the characters in the book, really.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it, Karen?
Yeah, I loved it. She makes a commentary on the British class structure without lecturing you or trying to preach to you. She creates this wonderful scene of a beautiful country village town in England that's full of your upwardly mobile middle class people, and then there's a housing estate nearby, and the boundaries have been blurred by the councils, and the councils are warring over whether this housing estate can be part of the village and whether the housing estate children can come to the school and whether they're allowed to mix, and the people in the village want to keep themselves siloed away from these working class people that are living in poverty. And so she's created this huge story around these two warring villages, but she's created this lovely commentary about the British class structure and how people are marginalised by it.
Interesting.
And that comes to light because one of the key champions for the housing estate is this councillor who dies quite young and creates this vacancy on council, which gives everybody an opportunity to start putting in their 2 cents worth for what should happen with this housing estate.
Yeah. So from really going from something like Harry Potter, which was such a wild, out there, fictional thing, this is a very different area for her to be working in.
So with Harry Potter, I'm with the Just Reads Online thing on Facebook that I'm involved with. A lot of people bagged this book because they thought it would be like Harry Potter.
Oh, I see.
So
But
when
this
they
is-
actually
this is
read it, it
more
was completely different.
Yeah,
And
like
it shows
the antithesis of Harry Potter, because Harry Potter's fantasy and problems can be solved through magic, whereas this is real life, gritty and grim and in your face, and there's no magic solutions.
Okay.
And she shows her true, like she's a true writer. She can write.
So she's a good
anything.
writer.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
I wish I could write like her.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm looking forward to reading this. It's definitely now on my list. I saw it and thought, I wonder, I was thinking, fantasy world, Harry Potter and whatever. Does this woman really know something else? But do you think it's worth seeing?
Well, a lot of girls from the book club that have read it have never read Harry Potter, and they absolutely love this book.
Yeah.
So
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
There's
Okay.
Language warning and language all the way through it.
Language warning. Okay. Language warning. We've been advised there's a language warning. But it's a great book, a good read apparently, although there's been you said there have been a few people who haven't liked it, so good one to read yourself. Put your name down on the wanted list at the local library. Okay, we're going to be back in just a moment. We've got another book to read for you. This is called The Snowman by Jo Nesbo, who has been likened to Stieg Larsson, who of course did all the trilogy with the girl with the dragon tattoo and whatever. So we'll have a chat with this one and we'll be back very shortly. It's our book club segment on Our Time, and we've been having a fabulous time talking about book clubs, talking about J.K. Rowling and her new venture into adult fiction, The Causal Vacancy. And I'd like to welcome our guests back again, Maria and Karen and Tash. And this time we're going to be talking about The Snowman. Now, this author, Jo Nesbo, has been described as the next Stieg Larsson's. Now, you were saying, Maria, I didn't think it was anything like Stieg Larsson's.
nothing like him.
Totally different, but not to say he's not a great writer. But Stieg Larsson's and the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy was very different to this, isn't it? How would you describe?
I still call it a crime thriller.
Yep.
But the only comparison I see between Stieg Larsson and Jo Nesbo is they come from the same hemisphere.
Norway.
Yeah.
So Scandinavian.
Yes, yeah. He has a really interesting style.
Yep.
Some of them, I love Harry Hole, the detective, who's quite a character.
Yeah.
And I think he how many novels has he written with Harry Hole?
I think that's number 6 or 7 in 9 novels.
Oh, right.
Out of 9.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've read most of them, and I haven't read the next one after
So
that.
how did you come to choose this book for your book club?
I put it on the list because I'm on a website called Goodreads, and everyone was raving about Joe Nesbo, and I had never heard of him.
No.
So I thought, oh, why don't we read one of his books? So I put it on the list, and the library did get him. He actually came to Australia last year for the Writers' Festival in
yes,
Adelaide,
yes.
and he was on a few shows as well. And I don't know, it just captured me, the way he was speaking and all that. So, yeah, I thought it'll be a good way of reading him.
Yeah, I read a little bit about him. He sounds like a very
Yeah.
interesting character. His childhood, he talks about as a little boy, how he grew up and how he got involved in reading.
Yeah.
And how he got in. He was a musician to start
as
with.
well.
Yeah, quite a character. So, what was your impression of this book?
Because I've read the other ones, it was a standalone book. The other ones, you might have had to read
Some
the
before,
previous ones to know what was happening with the character of Harry Holt and other characters in the books.
Yes.
But Snowman was a standalone one, and I actually enjoyed it. Like, yeah, the twists in there, and you know, did he do it? Did she do it?
Okay.
You know, what's going to happen next?
Okay.
So yeah, it was quite good to read.
Good. And Karen, what was your impression?
I didn't love it.
No?
No, I've read the trilogy of Stieg Larsson, and I did enjoy them, but I'm concerned about the way he eroticises female violence, and I think that he does the same. Joe Nesbo does the same.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that the female characters in it were strong enough or three-dimensional. So, yeah, I didn't get into it as much as Maureen.
Just this book, or all female characters in the Oh, shivers. Well, that's all we said. We've been celebrating our anniversary, 100 programs, and we still have balloons in the studio. That was a balloon. I'm glad I just said shivers.
It does remind me of when I was reading it. Because he must write well, because when I was reading it, I got to the climax of the story where everything was happening and all the loose ends were being tied up and the villain was having his tumultuous kind of ending. And the wind came through the door and slammed the door shut, and I levitated off the bed about 6 feet because I was so frightened.
Really?
So he
That's
must
a good
have,
writer.
Yes, he must have some good skills.
Yes,
But yeah,
yes.
there was some characters that I didn't really.
Is that a
enjoy.
theme that's gone through his novels, though, for you, that you feel that they're
This is
female
the
characters?
only one I've read, but I was comparing him to Stieg Larsson because I've read all three of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read Redeemer. I haven't read this one yet, and I believe Redbreast is a really good one.
I think he's getting better as each novel's written.
Okay.
His novels are getting better and better.
Okay.
So, but he's nothing like the Steve Lark. I love Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes,
I
I
love
do too.
I love
Yeah.
the whole series,
Yes.
but nothing. They're not
Very
comparable.
different to this. No.
Yeah.
Tash, what about you?
Yeah, I found the characters engaging, but I felt like I'd read it before. It was a little bit same old for me.
Same old as in other books that he's written, or same old
as in
other authors?
I'm quite into the Icelandic sort of Scandinavian writers.
Yeah.
And so I'm familiar now with a lot more of the places, the locations
Yes,
that they're
yes.
describing. But I felt like I warmed to Harry.
Yes.
But the rest of the book I didn't get into it that much, and I read it to finish it so that I had
I'm
finished
finding
it.
the same with the crime books. They're all
Are you?
similar.
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting into the new adult books that are coming out now. But yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, because I'm the same. I loved all the Stieg Larsson ones. I bought them because I loved them so much.
Yeah.
But no, that one.
Was this the only Jo Nesbo book
It is
you'd
the
read?
first.
Okay.
And I was
yeah,
speaking to
yeah.
somebody else about them, and she said that she was really disappointed with that one, that she quite enjoyed many of his other ones better. And if she'd picked that one up to read it first, she might not have read any more of
So
his.
we need you to go and read more. And
Yeah,
then
that's right.
whether you think this was a standalone.
And
whether
Harry
this
was great. I really
He's a
liked him.
great
but-
character, isn't he? I
but
know.
apart from that, I sort of...
I wanted to take him aside and say, "Now look, buddy, this is what you've got to do. He's got so many marital problems and so much, addiction problems. You just wanted to take him aside and say, no, don't go that. Don't
And
go
it
that route."
reminded me a lot of the old, the black and white 40s sort of detectives.
Yes.
You got that sort of vibe from
Peter
him.
Falk in Colombo. was it
That's
Colombo?
right. Yeah,
you
You could picture him looking like them.
unorthodox character. Yes, I had the same Peter
Yeah.
Falk image in my head. This sort of sloppy detective who saunters into the room with a
Smoking all the
cigarette,
time. Yeah.
but was actually very, very cluey.
Very clever.
Yes. Did you feel the same thing with the female characters, that they weren't a three-dimensional real life person?
No, I mean, I was a bit disappointed with them, but I guess the author's taken so much time and effort in constructing Harry that I guess he knows him back to front, and everybody else has got to sort of just fill in around that.
Yeah.
So you get sucked in by Harry, and every time he's talking about anybody else, I sort of lost interest.
Okay, all right. So this is the latest book for Book Club at the moment, and what are you? This is the one you've just finished.
We've
as a
just
group?
finished, yeah.
Okay. And what was the general consensus with the other people in the group?
Some of them, a lot of them actually liked it because our group's big, but then there was some that didn't. So we had a
Okay.
mixed review on them.
And this is the other good thing about these sorts of, it takes me back to my uni days of tutorials where everyone sits around and you can openly say, look, I just thought that was rubbish, or I thought it was great, and nobody's going to judge you for that. And I think maybe that's been a bit of a barrier for people over the years with book clubs, that aren't, maybe what I have to say is not a valid thing that maybe...
Well, some of the girls that don't actually read a lot of our books actually finished that one because it was quite an easy read.
Okay.
And where they find the other ones they struggle through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And what's on the agenda now? What's the latest one you're
We
reading?
need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah. We need to talk about Kevin.
Okay, I don't know that one.
It's really...
It was
Who's the
made into
author?
a film with
Lionel
Tilda.
Shriver
Shriver.
is the author.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a very heavy movie.
Yeah.
Grim.
Tilda Swinton.
I haven't read it yet.
Swinton. Tilda
Yes.
Swinton
Yes,
played
I
the
know.
mother in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty heavy going.
And then after that, we've got The Hours to read as well, and that's been made into a movie as well
Okay.
with
All
Nicole
right.
Kidman.
All right. Well, we're going to be back in just a moment. We've talked about the Causal Vacancy. We've talked about the Snowman with Joe Nesbo. We've got a few more things to talk about on the Book Club on Our Time. It's our book club segment, our new look book club segment. And today we've been talking about J.K. Rowling's new book, The Causal Vacancy, and also Joe Nesbo's The Snowman, which I'm yet to read, but these ladies have been telling me all about it. I'm interested, we're talking about books, the old-fashioned book, but I'm just wondering, this whole thing with Kindles, is that really, are people reading more from Kindles? Or?
Karen's addicted to her Kindle.
Yes, you
That I
read them
know
all
of.
I
on
never
Kindle?
thought I'd give up the beautiful smell of the page.
Yes.
But when I go on holidays and things like that, I like to take a choice of books to read.
Yes.
And they take up luggage space.
They do.
So I bought a e-reader,
Yes.
a Kindle, but you can buy other different brands.
Yes.
And they're great because you can take 5 or 6 books away with you, and you've got them all on this little space.
And that's the beauty thing with Book Club. I guess more people, you don't have to pass the book around. You can actually lend books on Kindles, can't you, for a period of time?
And there's on the